There's an area in the American Southwest known for its rich, ancient Native American history and the abounding artifacts scattered through its hills that can still be found today. This vast and remote region holds clues to the stories of our predecessors, some of which are harder to find than others. After spending much time investigating this area on Google Earth, I found a particular canyon that caught my eye and showed signs of a potential previous civilization. Though it is hard to be even remotely sure through Google Earth images, my curiosity had already possessed me, so I fueled up the car and headed into the unknown. As I traveled further and further from civilization, I became more and more immersed in this adventure and all the more curious about the history of this intriguing region. I rounded a corner and was then out of cell phone service for the rest of the day, which kept me as present as possible on this journey back in time. Hello everybody, Johnny out west here. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Today is a very exciting day. Number one, we're out here in the beautiful desert on a beautiful day and the weather's great. But the other reason is that I'm exploring a new place, a place that I've only ever seen on Google Earth, and a place that I know has a reputation for its rich history. However, I'm really just kind of going into the dark, so to speak here. I kind of just have a hunch about this place. For right now, I am just kind of starting my hike, and for the most part, I'm just gonna kind of go where my eyes take me and where my intuition takes me, and see what this canyon has to offer. So I'm about to kind of venture up here over to this wall. It's kind of in the shadows there, but I can actually see some petroglyphs all the way from here. Gonna kind of make my way up here. I must say it's pretty hot out. Hotter than I anticipated. Ooh, this stuff is steep. Whoa. These are some pretty significant markings. Let's get in a little closer. So here we go. Our first discovery. Kind of a nice panel, maybe some deer or antelope. And it looks like this might be some sort of bird. You can see kind of by the feet. Pretty cool scene there. And then up here, we have some bigger pieces. It's definitely a deer, and maybe some sort of goat. Well, our first discovery was pretty quick. Definitely excited to get back into this canyon and see what else we can find, but not a bad start at all. I'd say the day has already been a success. So, who was it that left these artworks and that called this canyon home centuries ago? Nearly 2,000 years ago, these canyons were the stomping grounds of the Vermont people, a Native American group who primarily occupied Utah, but also small parts of Idaho, Nevada, and Colorado. Much like the other Native American populations of the time, there was no written language within the Vermont culture. Therefore, the rock art we see today is one of the most significant ways archaeologists study these past civilizations and draw conclusions about their ways of life. Discovering this first site of artwork from the Vermont people was surreal and humbling. As I headed deeper into the canyon, I had no clue what I would come across, but I was extremely eager to see what other stories it had to tell. So I just kind of dipped behind this wall. It's a bit of an overhang, and I noticed something on the walls here. You can see here. Pretty interesting. Almost look like eyes. And I wonder, because they're not petroglyphs, it's not carved, it's more stained. So I wonder if it's some sort of pictograph. Kind of looks like it, but then again, there's not much else around here. So hard to say. I'll tell you what, there is a lot of wildlife back here. It seems like everywhere I step, there's some sort of bird or rabbit jumping out of the way. Lots of life here, that's for sure. You know, I'll tell you, one of the things that I love about these excursions is driving out to these remote places. It just gives me time in the car just to relax and, think about things. Lately, I've been taking more and more interest in geology and archaeology. One interesting thought that kind of crossed my mind was you think about all the stuff that we have explored and uncovered and all the history that we've dug up about our past and about the origins of Earth. It just had me thinking, what if there was an event that wiped out all life on Earth? And what if millions of years in the future there was a new intelligent life form that somehow showed up here and began to explore the way that we did to kind of re-uncover the history of this planet and its inhabitants? It's just crazy to think the idea of everything being wiped out and, our fossils potentially being discovered and just like that cycle continuing. It's kind of a wild thought, actually.
As I pondered the incredible history of our planet and some of the mind-bending possibilities for the future, I found myself more immersed in this adventure. I set out on this particular excursion in search of archaeological relics, but what I didn't expect to find was the perplexing geology that lied ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what, this place has not taken long to impress. Just between the petroglyphs that I've already seen at the mouth of the canyon, and now this is pretty cool here. The weathering on this rock. Just kind of like a speckled, porous degradation on this rock. Pretty cool. Just one of the many examples of the wonders of nature here. Some of it is just truly such a mystery how it all happens. So onward we go to see what else lies in this canyon. Well, I'll tell you what. I just kind of wrapped around this corner and we found something unexpected. I've discovered somewhat of a monolith. Let's check this thing out, huh? Whoa. So cool. Whoa. Just so you can kind of get the scale on this thing. It's got to be 25 feet tall. And it's crazy because right here, there's actually a gigantic crack. Like these are two separate pieces and then this one is becoming its own. Incredible. Just makes you sit here and wonder how long it'll continue to wear this thing and at what point this part will kind of crumble. Pretty stellar. That is pretty amazing. Look at the smaller piece. See just how thin that is. It's like a gigantic tabletop. Was not expecting this one at all. So this is a pleasant surprise. So we've arrived at another one of the spots that I marked that I wanted to check out. It's like a big alcove with some really interesting rock overhangings. Now that I'm seeing it from here, it doesn't really look like something that's like that habitable just because of how intense the terrain is and how steep it is, but it looked to me like there could have been some shelter in here, so I'm gonna kind of hike up in here and just see if I can spot anything, but beautiful nevertheless. Here it is. Pretty cool. Here we go. Almost feels like I'm in a little amphitheater. This is steep. Yeah, probably a little too intense. It's not really tame enough back here. It's a little too steep. But this rock structure up here is pretty amazing. You can actually see some speckling on it, but it kind of just looks like weathering. Up there. Beautiful, nevertheless. There's the way out. Wow, it's just so peaceful in here. Just a light breeze. It's really nice. I think one of the most exciting things about doing this kind of exploration, in these areas is you just never know what's waiting around the next corner, You never know what you're gonna stumble upon. And of course, you might not find what you're looking for. That's always a possibility. But it's exhilarating in that way. This is interesting. This is weird. To me, for a second, this looked like a trap that somebody set here. But it looks like this is just a part of some fence post with wiring that just drifted in here and stuck on this piece of rock. Interesting. This kind of stuff is always interesting when you have so much rock just hanging over and just this bottom layer has worn away. And it's like you can see this one cracking right here. When is that? How much life does that have in it? It seems like a pretty frail foundation. Well, another area that I kind of ventured up to and unfortunately didn't find anything. I'm going to keep searching, but I only have so much time before I need to head out of here. I'm in a place where there's no cell service and I don't have any way to reach anyone here, so I definitely have to be smart about making an exit out of here at a reasonable time. So I'm going to search a little more. Hopefully we'll see something else. But yeah, kind of came up here, scrambled up this stuff. It's all pretty unstable. This is kind of interesting. Looks like another nest. Makes you wonder what was nesting here. It's a big nest too. Kind of cool. Well, as I have kind of traversed this canyon, it's just funny. I'm almost just feeling more lost than I was when I first started. It's like you find clues, and for whatever reason on this particular excursion, they were kind of in plain sight as opposed to being more tucked away on the places where I had to kind of venture into. So I kind of just decided to put the drone up and ideally maybe save myself some time and energy. I kind of flew it to a few spots that I had eyed from afar just to kind of see what was there. And from what I could see on my small phone screen, it didn't really look like anything, at least that I'm looking for. So it's a little bit disheartening because I just thought this was going to be more of a gold mine, and I guess I just misread it. With that being said, I know that this greater area is riddled with things to find. It's just, I'll have to come back another day to try again.
After spending the majority of the day exploring this obscure canyon, it was time for me to begin retracing my steps back towards the car. Despite feeling slightly discontented by the barren depths of the canyon, I was grateful for the beauty and history I had witnessed. Even though I spent hours inspecting the canyon, I truthfully had only scraped the surface of this greater region, and I knew that there was much, much more out there to be discovered. Needless to say, I would be leaving with a strong fixation on returning to this historical haven sooner than later.
Well, sometimes nature has a way of giving you a signal. We got this storm pushing in. I wasn't really aware of any rain, but it's not looking all too friendly. So I'm kind of actually moving out of here as quickly as I can, because I would definitely not want to get trapped back here with all these dirt roads I have to ride out on. Again, even, when you have a day like today where you could kind of look at it as a letdown, that's not how I'm going to look at this one. I think that there were some pretty beautiful discoveries, but I think the most important takeaway here is that there's a lot left for me to discover, despite the trek that this location requires. I think maybe next time I just need to be a little more diligent in my research. But again, I think that's just kind of a part of this hobby, is you never know what you're going to find. And I think some days are going to be better and richer than others, and some days you're not going to find exactly what you're looking for. But it's also, for me, just a process of learning that that's not really how it works. You kind of just explore. So anyways, thank you all for joining me on this adventure. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing many more adventures soon. And I'm just really excited to share these experiences with you all. If you have any feedback for me, leave a comment, please. And I will see you all again soon. This is Johnny out west, signing off. See you, everyone.